This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crusher Spotlight. I am your host, Mark Martinez. Can Crusher Spotlight, where we spotlight one wrestler per week from anywhere. We've had Singapore, we've had India, we've had California, well, all over. England, come on, we are on top of shit here on Can Crushers. And this week, we are spotlighting a man that got booted out of the first round of Indie Mania, which is by RetroSoft, you know, RetroMania, the new game that we've talked to Mike Herman months ago about it, but he got booted out the first round, and he is non-stop been on Twitter, still trying to get into this game. In all just, he lost the match, but I think there was some outsider interference or something, but man, this guy knows how to use Twitter. And if you have no clue who I'm talking about and you follow RetroSoft or you do anything other than that, wake the hell up, you haven't been paying attention. Really, this guy has blown up Twitter more than Donald Trump. And we don't go into politics on this damn show at all, but this guy knows how to use Twitter. He's pimping himself out all over the place, and it's none other than Daredevil Dave Doll. Now, I usually don't give their Twitter handles out right off the bat, but listen to the podcast and then follow him and just read some of the shit that he's tweeted about to RetroSoft. It's unbelievable. Go give him a follow at DD_Dave_Doll_19. This guy, I can't wait to talk about some of his wrestling too, but I want to know what the hell his beef is with RetroSoft and RetroMania and why. He lost the first round, for God's sakes. But we'll find out more if there's more into this. But of course, we have to do our number one thing. We have to send it to Al Snow so he can tell you about Collar and Elbow. Guys, you hear me all the freaking time. Hats, hoodies, tees, they're comfortable. They got sweet-ass designs on them, and they're affordable. And I can make them even more affordable by using our promo code. It's Can Crushers, all one word. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. It's that freaking easy, and you get 10% off. And of course, we don't lie. It kicks back some money to us so we can buy more beer, or I can buy more Collar and Elbow shirts. That's all it is to it. I have a wardrobe of Collar and Elbow shirts. Right now, I just have my plain Jane one on. It's the CXC Collar and Elbow, but it's the comfy afternoon one that I wear. All right, guys, listen to Al Snow, and then I'll be back with Daredevil Dave Doll to find out what his beef is with RetroSoft and RetroMania, the new game coming out in July.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Listen here, this is Daredevil Dave Doll, and I got one thing to say. RetroMania, you better put me in, because I'm on Can Crushers podcast right now, promoting your game like every other thing I'm on. So you put me in the game, you make money, and I get some more fame. Listen to Can Crushers podcast, because I told you so. And if you don't, well, there's no price to pay, and it's going to be your ass.
And welcome back to Can Crushers, man. I want to jump right into this interview with Daredevil David Doll. As I said at the beginning, if you're on Twitter and you have not noticed him talking about any video game in wrestling right now, you're not on Twitter. Daredevil David Doll, how are you doing? Welcome to Can Crushers.
I'm good, and thanks for having me.
No problem. So let's jump right into RetroMania, then we'll get into wrestling. You were in Indie Mania. You took the loss in the first round, but you promoted RetroMania better than Michael Herman has, and we've actually had him on the show already. You were just all in.
I was in Indie Mania, and obviously I really had no business being in it. I got lucky. I campaigned. Everybody knew to nominate me to get me in there. And then when the actual matchup between me and Simon Miller happened, I basically did the same thing again and just kept paying my my ass off to hopefully win. But obviously that didn't happen. Even if I would have won the fan vote, RetroSoft Studios and Dave LaGreca kind of voted against me anyway, so I would have lost there. But I managed to get 30%, almost 30% of the fan vote against Simon, and with his following, that's pretty damn good for somebody that doesn't, isn't really internationally or well known more than like a few states on the East Coast,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, and you've grown it even more, though, now. I mean, we're located in Pennsylvania, so we're a hop, skip, and a jump from where you're at, but I have friends in California that I've been talking, saying, hey, we've moved this from last week, da-da-da-da-da. They're like, this guy's all over Twitter about RetroMania. Is he just a nerd for the game, or is he pissed off because he lost? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll have to ask him that.
Well, so what I do on Twitter is a different promotional way. I'm trolling, but in a good way. So whether I'm in or not, I support the game. Since I met Mike at a Comic-Con last year, and saw the game for the first time, I was like, wow, this is going to be something cool and could be something really big. I would love to be a part of it. Whether I'm actually a playable character, whatever, I don't really care. To me, just being an Indie Mania was enough. That gave me a lot of spotlight, and just being able to tweet at them and mess with them and do a different kind of promotional tactic than most people would go for has worked. And so many people on Twitter right now are like, Dave has to be in. Dave has to be in.
Right?
Like, I had a guy earlier today say, if I'm not in, he's not buying the game. I had to go and retweet him and, like, break character and be like, hey, no. Like, whether I'm in or not, you need to put the support on this game because it's going to be something that's great. And it has the ability, too, that be a game that just comes out this year and just keep, adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. There's no need to put out a RetroMania 2 or a WrestleFest 3 or whatever. They have the ability to really corner the market right now and just add to the game and add to the game. Really, it's what WWE should have been doing with their games, is just putting out a base game with a base roster and just periodically just adding people in, or as people leave, take them out. You know what I mean? Like, let you do update rosters. Like, all other sports games do that right now. Like, they update the rosters for you. You shouldn't have to go into community creations and keep having to update the roster. I mean, if they're scanning everybody every year anyway, if you need to add a couple new people this year, okay, go there, scan them, then boom. Update somebody, cool, boom, they got a new tattoo, put it in there. But, like, RetroMania can do that with how they're doing it. And it's probably going to be a really small file because of the way the graphics are. So, like, every update's not going to be, like, 5-hour download. So they really, what they have going on is really something special. And I really, truly just believe in it to the point where I'm putting my heart and soul into it, and I'm not even a fucking part of it.
Right.
So
I'm not either. Trust me, I'm trying to do the same thing. I had him on the show. Once he announced that Koloff's in the game, I'm like, I already pre-ordered it, but I might pre-order another one just because Nikita Koloff's in the goddamn game.
Oh, well, I pre-ordered it for Switch, and I'll be pre-ordering it for PlayStation as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Did you pre-order the advanced one where you get the cool art and everything? Because that's what I did.
The deluxe one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
The art's
and that's
amazing.
what I'll be pre-ordering again for the PlayStation.
Yeah. Another game that's out there. Then we'll talk about your wrestling career because video games are clearly more important right now. Virtual Basement's coming out with a game, and it's kind of been leaked that it's going to be next year's game, signing all these indie stars. So are you waiting to attack them full-fledged after RetroMania comes out, and then you're going to be all on Virtual Basement?
Well, they kind of screwed me a little bit with one of their posts. So I have been going after them just a little bit, tips and drabs. With me for that game, I'm all in on that one as well. But like that one, I don't want to push as hard because a lot of people that I respect and know and have known for a long time who have worked really, really hard are signed to that game. You know, you got guys like Sean Donovan, Shaheem Ali, LSG, Retro AG, like all those guys have worked super freaking hard in what they do and have really earned it. And I don't want to take anything away from them. You know, like with RetroMania, it's a little bit different. It's mostly established stars and everything like that. So like, I'm not taking anything away from them, promoting it as like I do or saying put me in or anything like that. So like for them, they're already established. They don't need publicity of it or anything like that. They're signed on to it because they're like, hey, cool, it'd be cool to be in a video game again. But with Virtual Basement's a different animal. And now they retweeted me the other day saying, well, maybe we'll have to put you in a 2-on-1 match against Congo Khan and Sean Donovan. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll get my ass beat, but I won't die and I will survive and I will be in your game. But like, so they kind of made me have to flip the script and go from heel to face on them. Which is fine.
It's fine. You're doing a great job of promoting. Both games should give you a free version, or better yet, just put you in the game. And I truly feel, Dave, that even speaking before I spoke to you, Mike Herman was all about putting the 32 in via the DLC or something because he was really excited about it. So I think you might not make the initial cut, but you'll make the first DLC. So that's pretty awesome.
Well, what's funny, as soon as they started trolling me back a little bit, putting up this poll like 2-3 weeks ago, having people vote to see if they wanted me in, which I won.
You won. Hands down, you won.
I won. 56 to 47 or 56 to 44%.
Yep.
I won, and then they put another tweet up saying, "Hey, you never know, you may be in it. It might be a surprise to him." So like, there could be a random 17th starter member of the roster, which, hey, by all means, it should be me. But and like, I don't want to take any credit away from anybody. Like, Warhorse won that Indie Mania tournament, which is great. He's a great addition. He's a huge character in real life. But like, I don't see much of him promoting the game.
Right.
I don't see much of anybody really promoting the game. And don't get me wrong, the established stars and the legends and all that are in the game are busy doing other things. But like Zack Sabre Jr., I don't think I've seen him post or tweet or anything about it once.
Yeah, no.
Nikita Koloff, and like he was just announced, so obviously they have that promo video. But like the only people I really see talk about it is Meanie, and that's because Meanie's the type of guy that puts his whole heart in the things that he does as well. But like, and Stevie Richards, obviously. Stevie Richards talks about it a lot. He even had a game cabinet made for it.
He did. That looks sweet.
A lot of the guys that they have in the game are kind of like, all right, I'm signed on, cool, thanks. Like,
peace out.
I'm not saying they don't care or they may be too busy, but like, come on. You can schedule tweets. Write up some and schedule them to come out, once a day, twice a day, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
easy.
That's just me.
It's easy. I agree. All right. So besides video games, how is your family and everybody doing during this quarantine? I mean, New Jersey was hit pretty damn hard. Let's come to brass tacks. You guys were hit pretty hard. You guys, have you opened up yet? Because Pennsylvania is slowly opening up.
I don't think we're not opened up yet. Like, we've always been allowed to go to like stores, essential stores and stuff like that, or curbside pickup for other stores. I think the shore just opened up a little bit where you can walk on the boardwalk on the beach, but you can't like stop and stand, no loitering. But other than that, like, I mean, me and my family have been okay. People have been able to work from home. I've been going to my real life job, as I call it, instead of using the word shoot. And just doing what I can there for people. And, we're all just trying to stay safe and take the right precautions and all that, wear a mask when we go out and stay 6 feet away from other people that we don't know and stuff like that. So as long as you follow the guidelines that are still forced to be followed while people are reopening, then everything should be okay with reopening. But once you start going nuts and say, forget this or forget that because, hey, we're free again, like, that's when everything's going to start climbing again, because who knows, like, who's just a carrier and who actually is going to get sick from it.
Yep.
So
that's why we're staying home. I'm a legit garbage man. My wife works in the food industry, so when we're home, we're home. We don't go out. We don't go gallivanting. It's just we're possibly one of the stronger carriers, so we don't want to do anything to our family. So I appreciate what you're doing. So all right,
exactly.
Let's get into wrestling now. Let's do the rewind all the way back to the beginning. When you were a little Daredevil, who introduced you to wrestling? Was it mom, dad? Who was it?
My uncle.
Oh, okay.
Actually. So the first wrestling I ever saw was WrestleMania 7, and this was WrestleMania 7 was 1991. I was not even one yet when it happened. So I didn't see WrestleMania 7 until I was about 3. So 93, I saw it. And first match that I fell in love with was, and still today, one of my favorite matches, and possibly my favorite WrestleMania match, is The Rockers versus Haku and Barbarian.
Wow. I did not expect that out of anybody's mouth, but okay. Tell me why.
It was, so, like, me knowing me, my family aren't tall people. We have some tall people in our family, but like I'm 5'8". I'm not getting any taller.
Right.
And my parents are like 5'6" and 5'7", so I'm just a little bit taller than them. So I knew I wasn't going to be that big, and Sean and, Marty are the biggest guys. And, them working with these big guys and making it look right and doing what they know they can do to make the big guys look big, and the big guys made the little guys on the same level, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was just a good contrast between all of them. And yes, there was a lot of little hiccups and stuff, maybe some like hyperness because it was WrestleMania and all that, and there's some fumbles, but like it still was a great match when you look at it of little versus big.
It really was,
and that's how I look at it.
So off topic of questions in a row, but did you cry then when the Rockers broke up and Marty ended up through the barbershop window?
No.
Damn it! I thought you were going to.
Again, you got to remember, I was only like 3 years old, so at the time I was watching wrestling sporadically. Like I was watching wrestling all the time, so I didn't know any of the stories and stuff. So like I saw WrestleMania 7, and then I would see 1993 Royal Rumble where they're facing each other.
Right.
So everything I saw, but until I was like 6, 7, maybe even 8, was just sporadic videos that my uncle would show me. Or like when my dad got remarried in 1999, I got a stepsister. She was a big wrestling fan from back then, so that's when I got to see like WrestleMania 12 and all that kind of stuff. So, it was very sporadic until I was living with my dad and I was watching wrestling like every week.
Okay. So you brought up some of your favorites, Sean. Clearly, anybody else that we didn't need to know who you're kind of built around?
Like what my style is based around?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sean, obviously, I kind of get the cockiness that I have when you watch my matches, and I'm a heel. But like wrestling style, I try to stay with what I know. Like I don't try to go out of my realm. There's no reason for me to be doing a 450 or corkscrew moonsault. There's no reason for that. I was an amateur wrestler since I was 8 years old. And so, like, I always watched more of the Kurtz, even the Benoits for his wrestling stuff, not his craziness.
Right.
Even a little bit of Eddie, because Eddie, I'm a smaller guy, and Eddie was a smaller guy, so he was still doing the bigger, suplexes and all that, but then going to the top rope. So, like, I'll go up every once in a blue moon. I usually don't leave the middle rope just because, it's not my world up there. And, so, like, you got the Kurtz, the Mr. Perfects, even a little bit of Dolph because he's an amateur. Anybody with an amateur background, I really kind of watch to see how they, add what they know and then add the showmanship of, professional wrestling into it.
My comparison was definitely HBK with you with the cockiness, but on the same level was the pink and black Bret Hart. When he was Solo, the heel, the bad guy. I see a lot of Bret in you as well. So maybe like you're the Montreal Screwjob within itself, right? That's correct.
Well, it's funny because that's the first time I ever heard anybody say Bret, and Bret's actually my dad and my mom's favorite wrestler. It's like the only thing they ever agree on. And
wow.
But like more people have told me they compare me to Steen or Owens because of my body type.
Well,
and how I portray myself and how I go out there and do what I do. I'm like, well, that's a great compliment. Like Kevin is one of the greatest, to come around. I guess this would be a new generation again. So it's the new generation.
Yeah, for sure. What was your deciding factor? I mean, we know that you loved wrestling, but when going through college or whatever, you're like, you know what, screw this daytime job thing. I'm going to be a wrestler. What was the main factor to make you think of that?
Well, so I still have a daytime job. Don't get me wrong.
Well, clearly, yeah.
I'm just a normal dude that chases his dreams. I actually started using the hashtag on Twitter, Dream Chaser, and then hashtag not an idea maker, because I really like to focus on the fact that if you have a dream, you'll do anything you can to go and try to achieve it. You'll chase that dream. But if it's just an idea, you don't do anything for it. It's just a thought in your head. It's just an idea, So unless you actually go for it, it's just a freaking idea. And for me, like I started wrestling when I was 8, and it's kind of came full circle because when I joined amateur wrestling, I thought it was WWE. Or WCW at the time.
Who didn't?
I thought I was going to go super kicking people and drop kicking them and throwing them and putting them through tables, jumping off ladders, hanging with chairs, all that fun stuff. And then it wasn't that, but I still loved it. It got me to get out of the aggression that I needed to get out. I was a very angry child. And without wrestling and like football and stuff, like I would have been in fights all the time. But like I knew I could get all pissed off and just bottle it in and then go to practice and let it out. And just work my ass off and just do what I can do. And then, so I wrestled since I was 8, went all the way through high school, went into 1 year of college, came back home from the college I was going to a community college instead, was working a job, couldn't fit, wrestling practice and work and school all in together. And then I found a wrestling school, and it was 2 days a week. It was the days that I had regular school. So I had off from work those 2 days. So like, I could go to school in the morning, go home, relax for a while, go to, wrestling school at night, and then go to work the next day, blah, blah, and then, repeat the cycle. And it was every Tuesday and Thursday. So that worked out for me. And I've been doing that ever since. And that was February 2011 I started training.
Wow. Nice. 9 years or so.
Yeah. I've been around for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. You brought up your trainer and your wrestling school and everything. We always like giving props to them as well, because you wouldn't be Daredevil Dave Doll on Twitter and every place else without them. So please give them props as well. Spew about them.
Well, they're no longer around, so.
Okay, but.
But no, like some of the guys that I trained with or had a hand in training me are still around. Guys like Joe Gacy, he's still, killing it right now. He's CCW World Champion. He's wrestled for Evolve. He was on the Evolve WWE Network special.
Yep.
Along with myself.
What?
I was in ringside corner.
What?
I was in the I did not wrestle on the show. No, it was their spotlight. I was actually just helping around ringside. I was one of the only independent guys that were not signed by Evolve or had anything to do with them that was allowed in the building and to help. Because when I did a tryout for them, I showed up 2 days early. So, like, CCW had Dojo Wars, and I did Dojo Wars on a Friday night on a Super Show. drove to New York, stayed at my stepsister's, helped set up the next day at La Boom in Queens, helped break down, and then showed up early for the seminar tryout thing on Sunday, helped set up, did the seminar tryout. Roderick Strong was the guest that day, did all that, stayed for the show. Unfortunately, because I had work the next day because it was a Sunday and, Monday, I was like, I have to go home. I can't stay to break down. I did as much as I could, before breakdown started to help, and then I had to take off. But because I busted my butt and all, they invited me to come and basically be ring crew and help out during the WWE Network special they did.
Cool. That's amazing. That's actually something I did not find out. Damn it. Good piece of information in there. Nice.
So within the last year, I've helped 4 major companies.
Oh, yeah?
So I helped Evolve for that special and for the shows that they did at the tryout. I helped MLW the last time they were in Philly. I was actually the timekeeper, so you see me on camera a lot during those tapings. I helped Impact and House of Hardcore for A Night You Can't Miss. And you actually see me on camera after the Sammy and Eddie Edwards street fight because I'm clearing out wood, and they came back before we got everything cleared up. And it was across from Hard Cam. And then I helped Ring of Honor during Free Enterprises a few months ago.
Nice. So you got the only one you really haven't been around so far is AEW, and that's because it's been in Jacksonville.
I haven't helped them yet.
Yeah, because I
haven't helped WWE yet either.
Well,
so those two.
Kinda.
Unless you count Evolve.
Yeah, kinda. We'll count it. It's good enough. It was on the WWE Network. We'll count it.
But yeah, as I was saying, Joe Gacy had a hand. Sammy Callahan was at the school I was at the time. Guy by the name RB1, who was amazing. He unfortunately stepped away, even though he still got it. And if he got in the ring today, he'd kill it. There's a few others too. And then I've been at CCW school. I've been at the Monster Factory with Danny Cage and Meanie and some of those guys. So I like to learn. I do seminars all the time. You can never stop learning.
I was going to bring up one of the seminars that he gets knocked on for being a 90s disco dancer. Did you end up doing the Disco Inferno Simon Gotch seminar? Because I love disco back in the day. I really did.
So that day, I was still trying to earn a job with PPW, which never happened. They're hard to talk to or get a hold of, I should say. But I did one match for him on a whim, just getting thrown in there, and I had a good showing because no one expects me to do a cartwheel, and it was kind of cool. But the promo before the actual match, when you watch it on their High Voltage episode, the promo before is what sold everything. So if you watch the match, it makes no sense because of the stupid, silly stuff that I'm doing. But if you watch the promo and then watch the match, it's wow, okay, that makes a lot of sense, and that's hilarious. So I actually showed up that day for their training class with their students before both seminars.
Okay.
So that's roughly 2.5 hours from me. I got there at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, did their training class, then did the disco seminar, and then did the Simon Gotch seminar, and then stayed for the show, and then came home.
Wow. It's a full day.
Yeah.
That's a legit full day.
Full day. And hoping to maybe get thrown in something on the show.
Nothing.
Didn't get anything.
That does suck. That sucks.
But, it's the dues you pay.
Right. It is the dues you pay. It really is. Did you get the Ben Disco or Simon's ear a little bit? I know you had the seminars, but was there something that really stood out from either one of them?
Simon's main thing was so Disco went mainly over strikes, and my punch is already pretty decent. Not pat myself on the back, but he wanted us to do one way, and I was like, hey, do you mind? Can I show you my way, and then do it your way? see what I can improve or how we can gel the two. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I did it my way. He's like, oh, no, you're good. No worries. Like, you're fine. That was actually really good. So him and C.W. Anderson have both complimented my punch.
Wow.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Simon's thing was like, why did we lock up to start matches? It's like, oh, well, that's what you're told. So, like, ever since then, I really try not to lock up in the beginning of the match, only because that's what everybody's doing.
That's a great point.
Why not be different?
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I've seen Simon a bunch of times since then, and I've spoken to him. I've gotten critiques by him on Twitter and stuff. Like, I can just message him and just be like, hey, man, can you critique this? What do you think of this? If I did something like this. And he's pretty open with giving advice and everything, which is pretty freaking cool. A lot of guys I know are like that. Like Sean Donovan, like I mentioned him earlier about being in the video game, he's really earned it. I mean, he's almost a 20-year vet, or if not a 20-year vet. So, like, and every time I see him, I probably have a half-hour conversation with him and learn tons. So
nice. You pretty much stole the question. I was going to say, do you have anybody else in your back pocket that you can call for advice? Have it be, Teddy Long, Gilbert, Disco. I mean, is there anybody else out there that you're like, man, this guy, utmost respect for him, so I'm always going to talk to him. So you answered the Sean Donovan one already.
Well, I respect everybody. Unless you really blatantly show me disrespect, I'm not going to show you any. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you've been in the business a lot longer than me. Even guys, I think Anthony Green's actually younger than me, and I'll ask him for advice if I see him. Like, he was there.
He's great.
He was there for my Evolve tryout, just watching the matches, and he complimented my drop kick. I was like, sweet, cool. At least like somebody knows something that I did very well, and that's. Everything's in moments.
It is.
With wrestling.
Many people don't say that. Actually, I don't think it's ever been brought up on the show that way, that everything is in moments. One moment, and you could be flown away to AEW or NWA or Impact or anything because you did that one thing right, and holy hell, it's broken the internet. So
exactly.
That's perfect. I love that. I'll probably cut that clip out and use it all the time because that's a hell of a quote. It really is.
Well, wrestling literally is in moments, because you can go out there and do all this cool, fancy, and don't get me wrong, I'm not being a cornet and saying indie flippy guys are shit. They're not. But what most people remember of their spots is either the ending moment of it or something in the middle where there's kind of a break, and then they go back into it. You know what I mean? But, like, that's the thing. Like, if I go and I'm wrestling, I wrestled Robbie E in a 4-way elimination match. Most people remember me getting beat by Robbie E than anything else in the match. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have a partner for the one company I work for, Dog. He was wrestling a guy that we had the storyline going, we run shows in his hometown. And his whole, like, stepdad's biker gang was there. And, of course, I talked shit to him. And at one point, I stole a chair in the beginning of their match from a little kid, slid in the ring, went to use the chair, got caught by Michael Keener, and sat down and, like, set up the chair, sat down, said, I just want a closer look. Well, when I went to argue with Michael Keener and I went to fold the chair back up, a fan reached under the ropes, and grabbed the chair out of my hands because they were that pissed off at me.
Wow.
Not because I was going to hit. But the thing is, it wasn't because I was going to hit the hometown kid. No, it's because I stole the chair from a little kid.
That's even
better,
though.
People don't think of that.
Yeah.
That's the moment, though. The moment of that is me taking the chair from a little kid. I could have taken the chair from an adult and said, hey, get up, move. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the fact that I did to a little kid made everybody else hate me even more. And it's just, you got to pick things you do. So, like, there's a kid that comes to, usually when he's not having health issues because he has Downs, he would come to every dog show. And I've actually known him before I started wrestling because he's a member of my best friend's family. And I know I can pick him and use him as, like, a plant, basically, and just torture the crap out of him and get him to be pissed off at me, as long as I just go up to him after the show and give him a hug.
Right.
Because I know he knows that I'm just playing my character. You know, there's times I go, I'm a heel, and everybody's all like, well, heels don't sell merch. There's times I go to shows as a heel and sell more merch than I do as a face.
Yeah.
which makes no freaking sense, but it happens.
Heels, we always say this, heels run the business. It's tougher to be a good guy, a face, or however you guys want to, we're not in the business, so we don't use the words correctly, but it's tougher being a face than it is a heel. A heel can do anything. They really can, and they sell the business better than anything. We go to a lot of, around in Pittsburgh, it's called IWC, and they run the Super Indie tournament and everything, which you would be great in. Just letting you know that maybe I should contact Justin Plummer about that.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Hopefully it happens this year, though. That's the downfall. It's just wonderful. You see more heels busting out laughing or just having a good time, and I'm rambling now, so.
Well, me being a heel, so the way I do it is, any dicky thing that's said to me during the week that I can't just lash out at.
Save it.
I hold it in and let it out when I'm a heel. You know what I mean? I just go and be a dick. It's as easy as possible. And, I just turn my normal, outgoing self up. You'll see me in my matches. I do comedy heel work. Not many people do comedy heel work.
Right.
If you're a comedy guy, usually you're a face.
Yeah.
And I'm not a comedy guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a comedy guy. But I know when to laugh at myself when I'm saying stupid stuff in the ring. I did a show at Rowan University, or an event. Sorry, the promoter will yell at me if I call it a show, especially since, the company's called Dog and Dog Show,
Right.
Don't really go very well. But so we did this private show for Rowan University for Rowan After Hours, which is their program to try to keep kids from drinking and going out partying and all that. So we did this show. I was supposed to work the kid from Glassboro, and he was hurt, though, because of his knee. And there was another kid that was going to the school that's actually from Philly. So we put him against me instead. But, I'm kind of my promo on Rowan, which I grew up the street from Rowan. I could hear all the parties and football games from there. I started trash talking the school. And this one guy starts yelling, F you, F you. And I turn around, and I'm like, since when did Weird Al get fat? And I basically call him Fat Weird Al. And I had a very second of remorse just because body shaming and stuff like that. And I'm not the skinniest person, so me calling somebody fat shouldn't be a big deal. But college and all that kind of stuff, depression. So get through with my match. Everybody hated me. Blah blah blah. The next day on Twitter, he compliments me for calling him Fat Weird Al. So I got complimented on my insult by the person I insulted.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. I love it.
How does that work? So there was also
is that
a
his
festival.
New nickname now? Does he want to be known as
I don't
Fat
know.
Weird Al?
I don't know, but there was this festival I did for Pro Wrestling After Dark or Standalone Wrestling. It's just basically the same company, just two different names. And it was this Halloween festival, all kind of rock music, and it was almost like a light version of Woodstock, but Halloween themed. And we had a ring set up, and I was supposed to be in a 7-way scramble match. And I'm like, that's uneven, and it makes no sense. And the night before, I was in a battle royal, and I eliminated a plastic skeleton out of it. So I was like, do we have the skeleton here? And the guy that brought him was like, yeah. I'm like, give him to me. I'm like, it's now an 8-way scramble. So I gave him to the champion who was in the match to bring him out. And I worked the plastic skeleton the whole match until the finish, where I got put through a door by this plastic skeleton, and the champion that was in the match pinned me to retain his title.
Is this on video? Where can we find this match on video? We need to see
this.
I
have a couple of clips of it on my Facebook. A guy actually another podcast that I frequent on, just shared them actually on his page.
You say them. I don't care. We'll cross promote podcasts just to see this damn match. I don't care.
That podcast is called Wrestling with the Future.
Okay.
Cool. And they just shared them on there because he was loving them. And it's just funny. The beginning of the match, I'm holding the skeleton, the bell rings, and he's headbutting me, and I'm flopping down to the corner, and then we roll out, and I gave him a good punch, and I break the battery pack off his head that lights up his eyes, and his arm falls off. So I start beating him with his own arm, and it was just stupidly funny.
Yeah,
but I was still a heel.
When I find those, they will be on Can Crushers as well. Is that okay? because this is going to be awesome.
Perfectly fine.
All right, good, because this is it's so asinine that it's amazing.
I've also done a Noodle Death Match.
What is a Noodle Death Match?
Pool noodles.
Oh my God!
So CZW does Dojo Wars, and I was teamed with a guy named Liam Jacob Noodle because we got teamed when he was a different name, and then he switched his name to capitalize on this thing he did with the pool noodle. So what he did was, I wasn't there one week, and he was wrestling, and he had the pool noodle with him because everybody was calling him Noodle because he's like a tall, skinny kid. Like, he looks like a noodle.
Right.
So he ran with the noodle, stopped, threw the noodle through the rope like a suicide dive, hit the kid in the face with it, and he bumped. So the noodle's now over. Right. And us as a team, so we lead into a program that ends in a Noodle Death Match. Like, I did a blindfold match against the one guy. And so in this Noodle Death Match, we have spiral pasta. Like, we had real thumbtacks in, but, like, me and this one kid were doing the comedy stuff just because he was kind of fight the comedy stuff. But I was like, you need to embrace it, so you're doing this. Right. And he was a new kid. He was green as hell. So we do the comedy stuff. There's a whole bunch of, like, there's a noodle table, there's a noodle ladder, bundles of noodles, like light tubes, noodles taped to the ropes. So at one point I get spiral pasta and I dump them out like thumbtacks. Well, after I'm done dumping them out, he comes up with angel hair pasta in his hands like skewers. So we proceed to do the Masada spot with angel hair pasta. So I stop him, I take him, I jam him in his head. I'm smacking him. And people start cheering CZW like it's a normal death match. And then I get back body dropped into the spiral pasta and sell it like I just landed on 1,000,000 thumbtacks. And, like, it was just fun. Stupidly fun. And everybody loved it. DJ Hyde hated it because, it's DJ. He hates everything. Right. But the people that were there in the crowd, even though it was a small crowd, freaking loved it. And, like, it was just so much fun. And the one photographer in the video clip I have of that sequence, he looks so disappointed. And, like, every so often I message him, I'm like, when I watch the clip, I'm like, you still look so disappointed in that spot and that whole match.
That's amazing. That is something I didn't find either. God, I can't wait to find these. You need to have just a DVD video of your asinine stuff that you've done. That's awesome.
Let's think of what other asinine stuff I've happen. Done. I've done a thumb wrestling match in the middle of a match.
I've seen a couple of those at indie spots. How did that end up for you?
I think I lost. Okay. So, like, we were wrestling outside, and it was sunny as hell, and there was no cover over the ring, so the ring mat was like a frying pan. And me and the guy I was working were like, we were both faces, too. Okay. So it was like face, or we're both heel. We were both the same, character, basically. And we're like, we don't want to be on the mat. Like, it's too hot. So we thumb wrestled, and then we wound up, like, laying down thumb wrestling with both hands. Like, wow. It was so stupid.
Like in the grass? Like in the grass? Or
no, like on the ring. On the ring. Okay. So the ring mat was like a frying pan. So we, like, laid down. We're both like, oh, this is hot. Why are we doing this? Like, it was so stupid.
That's awesome.
I have fun doing stupid stuff, though.
You said it about 10 minutes ago. It's the moments. It's the moments that you're going to remember because of that, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, like, people are going to remember me jamming angel hair pasta into somebody's head like it's Spears, right, and getting back body dropped into spiral pasta. People are going to remember me beating up a plastic skeleton and getting put through a door. Like,
that's crazy. Before this quarantine, you were promoting a charity event or something like that. Have we found a date maybe down the line? Are you still going to do it? I know you were involved with something. I just didn't get everything. So can you fill us in?
The one I was trying to put together myself?
Yeah.
So we are, but, like, unfortunately, the school, like, where we wanted to do it was, so what it was is my best friend's family, who's like my family. So he's like my cousin and a friend of a couple other people in wrestling. We're going to do a show for him because he had passed away unexpectedly in a freak random accident. He was just like, apparently he was using like an electric blowtorch or some kind of blowtorch that makes electricity or something, and was using it on wood, and it hit water and it like shocked him. And then a little bit later he collapsed and had a heart attack basically from it. So he passed away, and that really hit home.
Wow.
And he leaves behind a young son. So like we wanted to do something for his son, so he's kind of set up by holding a wrestling show. I was able to ask people like, hey, can we use your insurance for free? Hey, can we, have the ring and sound and entranceway for free? And like, so I was trying to get his old high school for the building because they were going to let us just use it for free because of what it was for, because he went there. And unfortunately, with the schools being closed, we can't use a school if a school's closed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So we had to find another venue, but we also have to wait until like we can start holding events again, because if we do this right, a lot of people will be there. Like when we went to his services, there was easily 250 bikers there, easily. So like if we do this right, all of them will be there, plus everybody else that isn't part of the bikers that no one will be there. And so it'll be a great event. It's just getting the details down and like trying to see who will be willing to volunteer time, because like none of us that are putting it together are taking any money from it. We were just gonna, we were gonna work for free ourselves, and donate all proceeds to his son. So he's set up pretty much in the future and do silent auctions and all that kind of stuff too. But right now, plans have to be on hold until we can start meeting in large groups again. And once we can do that, I don't want to do it where it's like we stream shows and ask for donations like that. Like,
right.
I'd rather actually provide a service and be able to do the silent auctions and meet people and like, basically celebrate his life again in that way. And, once we can do it, I'll have more information. Hopefully we can get it somewhere.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, once you get more information, once everything is out there, please shoot us a message. You got my number now. We'd like to help you promote it. We'd like to help come out. We'd like to help, bring a basket to donate for this thing because it hits home. It really does, and I love being able to give back to you guys giving back to somebody else, because what you're doing for us and then you do for somebody else, it's just paying it forward right down the line, and it means a lot. It really does. That's what we're all about.
Well, so a lot of people will come to me and ask me, and I don't know who else shares the same view as I do on this, like, why do you put yourself through this? I'm like, well, I do make money doing it somewhat, not a lot, but I make a little extra pocket change to help float the bills and stuff, but like, I do it because Joe Schmo in the front row over there just lost his wife.
Yep.
Bobby Sue over here just lost her job or in her home. Little Jimmy Jacobs over here, not trying to throw out real wrestlers' names.
Jimmy Jacobs, you know him. Wow.
I don't know him. It was just a random name that came to head. Little Jimmy Jacob.
Okay.
Jacob. His grandma passed away, or, his house burnt down or something, but they're still at the show. They have all this BS going on, but they're still at the show, pay their hard-earned money, and we provide them an escape. Like, if we're not doing our job where they're booing me as a heel and cheering the face, or there's no crowd reaction, we're not doing them the service that we're there to do. And, like, for those 2.5, 3 hours, we're, providing a service for them to forget everything and escape everything, and just, maybe even on the ride home, just not even think about it and just talk about it with whoever they're with and everything like that. Like, we're there for them to get away just as much as a get away for us to escape our real lives and what we have going on. So, like, it's a give and take on both sides, but like, that's why I do it. Like, it's so beneficial. Like, if I were to go out there and have a match and cut a promo and not get booed and not hear any reaction, like, I'd feel like I let everybody down when I'm out there. But because I'm out there and they're getting immersed in it and forgetting about the BS they have going on, like, I know I did my job right and I can go home happy. So that's why I do this. Other people may be like, oh, I just want to get rich, or I want to be famous, or I just love the sport, or blah, blah, blah. I do it because it's also a great way to get back. And it's you give back every time you're out there, and you may not know you're giving back when you're out there because you don't know what everybody has going on, but you could possibly have made this guy's day, this kid's day, so.
There's times you guys saved a life. There's times, all of that. I completely agree wholeheartedly with you again that you guys, and I'm not saying this mean, but from the indies up to the WWE, AEW, NWA, there's something that resonates with each and every one of you to one person in this United States that saves them from suicide or a bad day or, anything. So, again, thank you. It means a lot.
And I'm glad I'm able to do it.
On that same note, switching gears back to happiness instead of death that I just brought up, what is Daredevil David Doll's goals for 5 years?
All right. Well, first off, it's Dave Doll, not David. David's only if I'm in trouble.
Okay. I'm not your dad. I'm sorry.
I meant to correct you on that earlier. I just didn't get to it.
All right.
Or maybe I'm letting my little heelish out. My goals in 5 years?
Yeah.
So obviously I would like to have, either been an extra or worked a match or something for either AEW or WWE or even Impact at this point. One, have a match with Sammy. I've been calling him out on multiple platforms to have a match with Sammy. To see if I can hang with somebody that's at the top of their game right now. Really?
Be on a video game.
Oh, obviously be in video games.
All right. That's where I was getting
Those
to.
are the big ones.
Yeah.
Like, you can't forget about those. It's just make it somewhere. Like, I would love just to be able to say, hey, I did this. Like, my daughter's going to be 2 at the end of the month. And, that's one of the reasons why I push for the game so hard. It's because when, I get older and decrepit and she goes to her friends and go, my daddy was a pro wrestler. She can go and show them the video game. Like, look, see, he actually was. Or, if I was on WWE TV and they can go on the network and be like, see, look, there's my daddy. My grandfather, back to death. I hate to do this, but we're going back to death for a minute.
All right.
My poppy, as I call him, passed away the day before St. Patty's Day. Right before, everything was shutting down in the pandemic as well.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was a freak thing again. Another freak accident thing. But he was a postman for most of his life, and I knew him. And he didn't really leave a legacy that anybody would remember him by. I remember him as being the first superhero I ever met, or jumping in his mail truck when I was a kid and delivering mail with him when I shouldn't be. But he didn't really leave anything behind for people that didn't know him, or anything to show people that he left a legacy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once that happened, it's really when I started pushing the retro soft put me in thing. Because for me, to leave something behind that, if something were ever happen to me, God forbid, or I get old and decrepit or dementia or whatever, my daughter can go and be like, I'm proud of my daddy. He achieved his dreams. He left a legacy for me to, gloat and show off. And, that kind of what drives me in trying to achieve my dreams and stuff. So
that's why welcome to this podcast. My son's 13. I'm the nerd behind the microphone and everything. My friends wanted to wrestle. I wanted to be the referee or the ring announcer. That's just the way, right? Finkel was my boy. So
yeah.
This is where I am. So Ethan can someday say my dad's a complete jackass, but he had a pretty cool podcast where he talked to some of his favorite wrestlers or guys he didn't even know, but he just reached out to them. That's exactly why I'm doing this. So,
which is awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. Advice for kids. You've been in the business. Let's round. You've been in the business 10 years now. You have little Jimmy Jacobs coming up to you and say, "Hey, Dave Doll."
Jacob.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Okay.
Jacob. Jimmy Jacob.
You have somebody coming up and saying, "I want to be in the business." What do you tell them? What's the best advice you can give them?
Are you out of high school?
Yes.
Are you in college?
No.
Go to college. Like, don't be me. Like, I went to college for a couple of years, and I don't have a college degree. To break the fourth wall, I am a cook in a hospital organization. So, like, I cook at their corporate office. That's what I do for a real-life job. Is it something I want to do? No. Is it what I'm passionate about? No. What I'm passionate about is wrestling. Do I want to wrestle for the rest of my life? Freaking yes, that'd be amazing. Is it going to happen? I don't know unless I put the work in. But go to college. Have something to fall back on. Like, yes, I have cooking knowledge. So if I did make it to AEW and WWE and then I got released or whatever and I couldn't keep wrestling or whatever may happen, at least I can fall back on cooking because I know how to do it. You know what I mean? I kind of fell into it. I didn't go to cooking school or anything, but at least I have a trade or some kind of skill to fall back on. So make sure you have My stupid dog is barking.
It's all right.
Make sure you have something to fall back on before you full-heartedly go in at this. You know, when I first started, I didn't have, cooking or anything like that. I fell into it while I was doing this. Hey, you, go be quiet.
It's all right. It adds to the podcast. It really does. Normally, I have a party in the background, or people just going nuts, or my dogs running around. We drank a little bit too much last night, and had a hell of a karaoke night. So I have just people sleeping on my floor everywhere. One being my wife. So we're good.
But yeah. So find also a reputable school. I heard somebody on a podcast give advice the other day. Don't go anywhere where the person didn't make money doing this. Yeah, that is true. But again, some guys are just better teachers than they are doers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've been asked to be guest trainer at a couple of different places, and I like to do a drill I call wrestling improv, where, like, I'll take two guys and have them do what we call the international drill or the opening spot. Like, give them goofy-ass characters, like tell somebody they have to be Barney or a flamingo dancer and tell them get those over in the opening spot. And it's just fun because you have to creative juices on the fly.
Yeah.
And try to, do it. So find somebody that knows what they're talking about. Monster Factory, great school to go to. CCW, good school to go to. Matt Tremont's school, H2O, great school to go to. Who else has a school around here? There's a million of them. There's a lot of schools in New Jersey.
Oh, there
but
are.
Almost all of them have somebody there that really, in at least one aspect or another, has a great sense of something. You can attend multiple schools if you can. Make sure you go to seminars and learn from the guys that have been on the road and, been to the show or whatever you want to call it. Do those kinds of things because you may learn something there that you might not learn in school.
That's great advice. That really is. All right, couple more, and then we'll let you go. Your dream match. We want to know who is it against, where it's going to be held, and what stipulation.
So how am I doing this? Am I doing like WWE guys?
Anybody,
live, dead?
Anybody that's anything, alive, dead, whatever you want. It's your mind.
I have a few of these. This is not fair.
It has to be fair. It's my podcast. No, I'm sorry. That's a dick move.
I will come and drop kick you. I will find where you live and drop kick you.
All right, that's fine. Duly noted.
No. So okay, there's a few of them, and I'm going to, do a different kind of genres. So one would have been Kurt Angle. Obviously, he's retired. And it almost happened as filler footage for a movie back in 2013. For Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies, which I still haven't watched yet. But he was in it, and they were going to film this match just to put on, like, background TV, like a TV in setting, you know what I mean, to have it on.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was told. I don't know if it was actually a real thing or not, but who I was traveling with at the time, Thomas Robbins, said that's what was supposed to happen. Who knows? There's a bunch of bullshit in wrestling.
No, there's not.
Obviously, Sami Callihan, any place, anytime, anywhere, whoever wants to book it, book it. Pretty much watch me get my ass kicked, which is fine. But, just to show everybody I can hang with somebody that's at the top of the game right now, one of the best in the world, would be awesome. And that's kind of what I need right now is just that one breakout match. Someone to give me that opportunity to just show what I can do do what I know how to do and do it well, and get some buzz going. And if I had to pick, you know what? This is going to be very off the wall, and this is probably because I watched this match last night. Steve Cutler from WWE right now. I was going to say NXT because he just got called up.
Yep.
He was actually at the Monster Factory when I was there, and we trained a little bit with each other. So I would like to go one-on-one with him. That would be fun. I don't think we've ever touched in a match or anything. So that would be fun. Guys like I said, Swerve Scott, I've known him for a long time. That would be fun. Oh, there's so many.
Right. It is a trick question. I did say a dream match, but you gave me a dream event. You're just going to wrestle all night long, and we're just going to switch opponents. That's it. Just keep switching them in and out.
No. Well, so the main one I want to happen, like, right now, like, call me today, fly me out tomorrow, matches the next day, like, would be Sammy.
Right.
Easily, hands down, would be Sammy. Like I said, when I was at school with him, one day he actually showed up early, which is unusual for him. Or at least at that time, it was unusual for him. It was, and he wasn't there a lot because he was traveling a lot. He was, doing Germany and CZW and all kinds of crap at the time. We both have amateur wrestling backgrounds, and we would just roll. We just did like a small little like shoot for shoot kind of thing, and I did take him down once, and then after that, he kind of made me a little bit of a project, a little focused on me a little bit more. We went on like a 4-show span where he had some kind of interaction with me as security. The first time beating me with a broom that I had broke, sweeping up hay out of the ring. That was not fun. Hurt like a bitch. And I thought I put it out of the way so it couldn't be used as a weapon, and then it was used on me. So it would be a lot of fun just to be able to have that match with him. I know Simon Miller, after our round in Indie Mania, said, let's make this a real match, and that would be freaking awesome. I would love that.
That would be great. That really would be great to see that actually come to fruition.
Oh, it'd be great. Some people actually did do it on like Fire Pro and put it on YouTube. Me versus Simon from Fire Pro. Like they created me and created Simon and put it up there. They did the same thing with me and Sammy, which was kind of fun.
Fire Pro is such a great game,
but,
too. To bring it back around to video
it is,
games.
especially now with the parts craft. Like pretty much anybody can make anybody's face or any part they need.
Yes.
Like someone made Vanguard. Like how awesome is that?
Did they really? I
You
did
can
not
wrestle
see
as
that
freaking
yet.
Vanguard.
Oh my god, I gotta see that.
You can wrestle as Vanguard. I mean, it's basically they just made the head look like the drone, and all it is a head. So you're basically wrestling the Invisible Man and drone. But it's freaking hysterical.
It is. Awesome. Well, all right. I kept you a little bit long, but we need to do this again because this was awesome. Once you get on a video game, we're setting stuff up to do YouTube and other crazy shit down the line. I'd love to play a video game against you when the DLC comes out that I'm releasing. I know it's going to happen, so we can play against each other in RetroMania because it'll be awesome. Dave?
As long as I get to be myself, it'd be sweet, Oh,
I've already told you I'm going to sickle your ass with the Nikita Koloff. Yes.
That's not cool.
It's not cool.
Sickling somebody's ass is not cool. That's just weird.
That sounds weird. It really does.
That's the way you said it, man. I mean, you did it.
I did. It's bad. All right, we'll let you go. I know you got some things to do. Daredevil Dave Doll, thank you for stopping by Can Crushers.
Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Man, oh man, he's got to run our social media. That's all it is to it. I need him to give him passwords. I just let him run social media because the other two jabronis that I have on the show with me on the weekly episode, they're just not doing as well as Daredevil Dave Doll would. Come on. In all seriousness, though, man, I can't wait till wrestling starts back up. Off air, we talked about, we want to help promote his show for sure. We want to actually be at the show. And I hope he has a noodle match or he gets beat up by the skeleton again. Man, this guy, I really can't wait to head over to New Jersey, hang out with him, have a beer, whatever, but actually see him wrestle live instead of on YouTube or this, that, or the other. He's a great guy. We've also talked outside. Dave Doll will be returning real soon to Can Crushers for some other things. He's going to be a regular. He really is. We bonded a little bit. We really did. So I can't wait to have the Daredevil back. He can be the Can Crusher Daredevil. Let me see what the hell. Maybe we can give him a new Can Crusher name and he can just change everything to that. And then RetroMania will have to put him in the game with our logo on the damn thing. That would be awesome. We should probably work that out. But RetroMania, you're losing something if you don't get him in, because he will promote this game to the day he dies. He's passionate about it. For his daughter to see him in a wrestling game. Hell, for my son to see him in a wrestling game. I talked to this jabroni. It would be awesome. It really would. Like Herman, if you're waiting to say he's going to be in a DLC, cool. He'll get into the game, whatever. We just want to make it happen. You know how we are all in on RetroMania as well. We're all in on Daredevil Dave Doll. He tried to be heel a little bit, but I just spun him right out of that. On a personal note, he is a wonderful human being. Guys, I loved this interview. It was so much fun. It really was. If it's video games and wrestling, all you have to do is add a little bit of baseball and beer, and then probably you got my favorite podcast. Yeah, why not? Screw it. Hey, guys, you know where you can find us. You can find us on iTunes, on iHeart, on Spotify. We put it up on Facebook. You can go to our website, which is https:// cancrushers69.wixsite.com/cancrushers. It's tagged everywhere in all our social media too. You can find it. You'll find all our episodes up there. Every interview that we've had with Al Snow, to Baby Doll, to the Killer Bees, to Jax Dane that was just on NWA, Jared Fritz, the NWA official, Royce Isaacs, a ton of people from OVW, IWC from where we are. Guys, we love interviewing people. The spotlight is made to come on and just tell your story. Tell a story. We don't care. We just want to have somebody on the show, open it up to them. We're a form of media for the wrestlers. So if you want to hear from somebody, tell that person, reach out to us, either on any of those social medias or on an email. On an email. Why not? Or add an email. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm still excited. I can't wait to call Dave back and tell him, hey, everything's up and going. CanCrusher69@gmail.com, and you'll get it right to us. Guys, I had a great show. You had a great show. This was amazing. If you have not pre-ordered RetroMania yet, you're a fool. Get it on Switch. You can get it on Steam right now. PlayStation and Xbox still not there. And that's not the only reason why we had the Daredevil Dave Doll on the show. But come on, some of his stories were amazing as well. They really were. He got beat up by a freaking skeleton. That's awesome. Guys, we'll see you this Sunday for our weekly wrap-up of everything. And it's going to be a jam-packed show. Until then, remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.